Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. What's up, wrestling fans, trading card collectors? We're back again, and we're way overdue for an After Dark episode. And I figured on the heels of Prism, kind of spurred some ideas and things about what we should talk about that are going on in the hobby right now. And
After Dark episodes scare me sometimes.
Hopefully, no one gets offended. Well, Tony,
a lot of times, we'll like normally we'll have a show notes to kind of go over every episode we do. We try to do show notes. You're way better at it than I am with that kind of stuff. I just you put all the stuff together. I just fill in my stuff. But when we do an After Dark, it's like there's sometimes show notes, but today I'm kind of taken by surprise. I have no idea what the hell is going on here.
That's right. And we're starting with you first off, and that is all of your recent travels and how that actually pertains to wrestling cards. One thing that, we've saw your posts and your tweets and your pictures and getting cards signed and all of these things. And I think it kind of begs the question for the collectors out there, seeing you out there, pushing the boundaries for wrestling cards to get it out there to people while you're on tour with Kurt and any of these shows you're going to. What has been the more recent reception for wrestling cards that you've seen now that you've been kind of out and about?
Usually I don't bring up the conversation of wrestling cards to anybody unless they're coming to the table with a wrestling card. That's usually the first thing that, you collect wrestling cards. And I've been doing that for years. Mm-hmm. Any talent I've ever worked with, they'll bring a card to the table and I'll say, oh, you collect wrestling cards? Have you ever heard of WrestlingTradingCards.com? And then a conversation goes from there. And some people are longtime collectors. Sometimes they're just new collectors. Sometimes they're like, well, I get lots of things signed, but these are easier for me to carry around, easier for me to store as cards. So I'm getting this stuff done. But it was fun to go to different countries and talk to different wrestling card collectors out there. And it was nice to meet some of the people over there from across the pond. And it was, did a little giveaway while I was there. Like, hey, come find me. I'll give you an exclusive Kevin Nash WTC card. And the first two people who come and approach me, you get one of these bad boys behind me. It's like that. So I had a couple of those left over, and it was fun. So just seeing people getting their cards signed. I saw when I was in Liverpool, I got there early and I was able to go walk on the table, and I saw a guy who had nothing but cards. It was awesome. Like, it was great. And so much stuff, I go, but I didn't take any of my money and convert it to pounds, and I don't have any money in my PayPal account, so I haven't been using it forever. And I go, well, it's a good table right here. And I posted it. And of course, who comes walking in right afterwards? The old Tweet Wrestling guy. Came in. He bought up a lot of good stuff, man. He paid and did good on it too. Good prices on it too. And but good for him, man. But it was just nice to see some vendors there. Probably only 2 or 3 vendors that I saw at that particular show that had cards. Everybody else had, pops and action figures and replica belts and stuff like that. But and then this last weekend, I just got back from Ohio. I went to the Ohio Fan Fest, and there's a few tables that actually had some cards. And these guys they knew one of the guys who had a whole display case full of different cards. He was high priced. He knew what he had. He was high priced. So, but oddball stuff here and there. But again, people come to the table bringing some trading cards to get signed. There was a guy, the guys who were working with Ron Simmons that weekend, they had all kinds of trading cards. I mean, they had hundreds of cards on their table of all Ron Simmons cards. And the guy goes, oh, well, I brought some Kurt Angle ones. Do you think you mind if I get some Kurt Angle cards signed? Yeah, I'm sure we can charge you just fine for those. I took care of those guys. But so it was good. It was good to see people out there. I'm seeing more people than ever. Like, I used to do shows, 10, 15 years ago. You say you got 100 people who came to the door to get an autograph. Maybe 1 or 2 would bring a card to get signed. Now I see a lot more of it. There's more people out there getting cards signed.
Awesome.
I probably just last weekend, there might have been 7 to 10 guys, if I recall, like getting cards signed.
That's awesome. And you know, something else that is unique to the wrestling card space is it seems like the collectors and the people who want these things actually don't mind the signed in person style autographs. Whereas in a lot of other sports and other avenues, it seems like, you know, that if you take, you know, I'm just going to say Joe Montana base rookie card. Oh, you can't have that signed, you know, if you want a Joe Montana signed card, go buy one of his pack certified ones.
Sure, yeah.
But the wrestling card community is like, there's not, those autographs of certain things don't exist. So this is what we're going to do. And most people have really jumped on the board with it. So that's great.
They have.
Have you seen any other kind of ways that people are they, I don't know how in depth you got with them as far as like, you know, what are they collecting and what are they buying and stuff like that. As far as the UK guys, like, are they specifically buying or collecting anything different than what we are here? I'm just curious what the markets
out there,
like.
I saw several tables that actually had slam attacks. So all those guys were selling those quite a bit. That's of course very popular there.
Right.
But the one guy's table had all these different cards. I mean, he had stuff from like, he has the 89 New Zealand sets. He had obviously Impel. Everybody has Impel. I made sure the whole world has that. And then he had, he had a lot of the Fleer stuff. He had some top stuff. He just had a good variety of some good stuff there. But most of the stuff I saw out there, and that was the only show that I went to. I was out there was that Liverpool show for Love of Wrestling, because the rest of the dates that we did were all these more of a private type affair shows of like, it wasn't set up for vendors. There's no vendors. So that one was the big show in Liverpool on that Saturday. And so I didn't really notice anything other than finding a lot more slam attack stuff. There was guys that had binders filled with just slam attack stuff. If there was any of the chrome stuff, I would have cried, because I would have been able I couldn't buy it, but because I really like that chrome stuff. It's beautiful looking cards. But just a little bit here and there. It's like that. When I come back to here to the States, then you have guys who just sell the typical stuff you'd see, and they seem to be a little bit more. They seem to be more in tune with pricing structures here in the States than they do outside of the States, from my experience over there. Because that guy had a lot of things that were very fairly priced, very well priced, like entire price to move, definitely price to move. Whereas if I would have found, card A out in Liverpool shows like that, and found the same card A over here in the States, this guy over here would have had it, this guy was doing eBay comps type stuff.
Sure.
That guy out there was not. He was just selling for like, I'd like to get $10 for this. Oh no, it's worth 35. I'm selling 35 here.
I don't think you planned this, but it's a great transition and segue. But of course, we know you're the king of that. Going into the next topic, and it's something else I've seen with, I'm sure you get tagged in these Twitter stack sales and it's trade day. Let's, buy, sell, trade, which I love. I love getting included in those. But one thing that I seem to see people bicker about and kind of struggle with is asking prices and expected value on certain cards. And when I say that, I mean of certain talents. So I'm going to pull a name out of here. Let's say you just have let's say you have a Topps Chrome Gold Sami Zayn, but people are still wanting prices for that like they would Roman Reigns. Like, I think there's a disconnect. Like you were just talking about it as far as like pricing. So like, what do you think the disconnect with, and it seems like they get frustrated because they can't sell something. And, I don't want to be impolite if it's not my place and be like, well that's because you don't have a price, right? I
believe we know that there's the FOMO in buying. I believe there's also the FOMO in selling. So I think these guys are like, well, if other cards are going for astronomical prices for these golds, my Sammy's got to be going to probably go up in value too. It doesn't translate to everybody across the board. I'm a Dexter Loomis collector, and I'm seeing guys on there trying to get for a 1-of-1, trying to get $1,000 for his, autograph card.
Yeah.
Like, he's not $1,000 card, even for a 1-of-1. Sorry.
Right.
Oh, but it's Panini Prism, and that's the disconnect there. You don't understand that this is a smaller character that doesn't have the same kind of following is going to command the same kind of money as a Roman Reigns or a Sasha Banks. Well, for now, or wherever. So it's just again, it's about doing homeworks like that. So you're right. There's a disconnect from that kind of stuff. These guys put stuff up there. Like I went up and I recently, who was it that put it up? Mike the Cleaner. Does his weekly, Monday.
Yep. Shout out to him for organizing this and including this in it. It's always
an
good
amazing
stuff.
job. Which, by the way, when we're recording this, he's going to be tomorrow's drop is going to be with my interview with Mike the Cleaner.
Nice.
So I posted, like, I got some stuff. I put a PSA 8, Undertaker promo card, from a 94 action pack. And, I got to go and find out what the hell this stuff is going for. It's great. I got to figure. And guys were asking $379 for it. I said, okay, I'll ask $250 for mine. I'm $125 less. Not a single bite, nothing. I don't understand who's selling stuff on there. I mean, I guess it's all like dollar cards, $2 cards. And if that's the case, then, I don't know. I'm learning as I'm going along here how social media stuff is working for selling stuff. I see guys who are asking a lot of money for things because of what eBay comps are. I guess these guys are expecting or looking to buy. They're expecting, well, I don't want to shop on eBay. I thought you're going to give me a deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the flip side of that, from my perspective, is like, I'll see somebody with like a lot, and it'll be like 2017 Topps Undisputed, and it'll be like autos and relics. Okay, cool. But it's like guys that aren't even wrestling anymore or not even with the company, and they're not big name guys. And they want like $100 for 5 of the cards. And I'm just like, these are $3 cards at best. And I would know because I sell so much on eBay. And when you try to like politely explain this to some people, they get so offended about this.
They do.
It's just,
well, you know what? It's okay. And I think those guys can keep posting that kind of stuff they want to. And eventually, hopefully, they're smart enough to know and understand and learn that, you know what? I've been posting the same lot for the same price or on the same price for like last 6 months, and I'm not getting it. Maybe I should lower the price. Maybe that Zhan Morning guy was right.
I am right occasionally. And speaking of that thread, though, I bought an awesome red, white, and blue Dusty Rhodes Prism card off of that same thread for like $5. Very reasonably priced. So lots of good stuff in there. But so that was pretty much what I wanted to say on the pricing. So moving on to the next thing, and this is a topic that I thought we talked a little bit about it last week, and we don't have to get into names because it's not about names; it's about the overarching theme of this.
I've been doing so well playing Switzerland, but
you still can play Switzerland here.
Okay,
I will too. Not because I'm not afraid to, but it's just the theme of it. I was listening to the Lucas Tigers and Bronze podcast. Shout out to those guys. Listen every day. They had a guest on that was saying, "I'm really into politics, but I got into the hobby to get away from the politics because it's fun." Mm-hmm. Tony, the hobby's turned into politics.
It really has.
And you've talked about it. I've talked about it. What are we doing?
It's really it's come down to like this red and blue topic. It really is, and it's just I don't get it. Like it's first and foremost when you got to respect some guys, the old school guys out there, especially like when having this kind of discussion, you kind of have to respect like the Husker halves out there. I mean, as polarizing a figure as Anthony might be in some regards, one thing that he is right on the money about is this is a hobby. It's supposed to be for fun. You collect because you love to collect. It shouldn't be about price gouging. It shouldn't be all about that. It shouldn't be about undermining somebody for their views based on like, well, vintage is king. No, shiny stuff is king. Or no, it shouldn't be about that. We can all have our own difference of opinions. We can all have our own lanes that we wish to drive in and how we collect. There's no real wrong way. And again, if you're mad at me because I spent too much money on a particular card, that's my business, not yours.
Correct.
If I'm having fun, then I'm following the Husker halves mentality of buying things that I like to enjoy and collect and have my collection because I'm having fun. I don't get the reason for the divide. I mean, the great wrestling card divide is just it's real. It's here, and we've seen people who were on the same side and agreed on things or had a good interaction with each other based on cheering them on, like, hey, you got that card, man. That's so cool. It's a great card to have. That's an awesome, I mean, didn't matter if it wasn't in my lane or not. We were cheering each other on. And now these guys are blocking each other on social media. They're unfollowing. It's ridiculous to me. It really is.
I got so much to say.
Now go for it. I'm usually the one with very
when I started really going hard at this in 2018. Got to shout out Gary V. He's the one who's like, hey, garage sailing, mug life, go flip cards, all this stuff. Initially, I was like, okay, I can make some money, but I'm liking these cards. What do I like? Wrestling. I'm going to start putting this money into bigger wrestling cards to have fun. I'm cognizant of making money and value and whatnot.
And we all are. I mean, really, at bottom line, we all are.
But at the same time, it always comes back to, like, what am I doing this for in the first place? What am I creating content for? Why are we recording right now? Not because we want to have a bunch of friends, not because we're trying to be right, but because we're trying to get information to build this hobby and maybe get somebody some information that they needed, maybe get somebody into the wrestling card space. That's the whole reason we started. Why did I start collecting cards? Because I like them. Same reason I did when I was 10 years old. Like, I like having the cardboard and just looking at it. And, I don't know if I told you, maybe I did. No, I don't think I did. I told a couple people I've turned down several big time offers for my Hogan PMG. Like, not quite to the level I'm ready to yet, but let's just say they're in that level of the Andre that we were talking about. I said no that fast because I love the card. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. The cards, the information, and having fun. And I've talked a lot about the more I'm doing eBay, the more it is a full-time job at this point. So I don't have a lot of time to spend on social media, but when I do go on there, I like to see people's collections. I like to see the rainbows. I like to see information. What I don't like to see is people accusing this person of, not being, a legit seller, or this person saying that card's not worth this much, or, just the bickering, vintage, blah, blah, blah. Like,
I mean, if I'm the buyer of a card that you want to tell me that it's not worth that much, then I'm going to be perfectly blunt with you. You're full of shit, because it is worth that much because I'm the one who bought it. So it's worth that much to me. Well, it's not worth that much to you.
Let's take that and tie it into your Loomis and my cross collections. Like, if we're going after these one-of-one autos or transcendents or superfractors or, super rare stuff, like, who's to say if we want to pay $5,000 for one of those? Like, that's our business,
I got to have it in my collection. I think maybe it is overpriced. I feel it's overpriced, but you know what? I guess I'm kind of willing to pay that. I've come to terms with paying that, and I'll have it and I'll enjoy it in my collection, because once I have it, its value it's kind of, sort of evaporates once I have it. Like, the sting and the pain is always with the payment. But once the card actually comes into my hands, it doesn't have any value to me anymore now, other than I have joy from having it.
Right. And that kind of transitions me to our last topic of this. There's a lot we can talk to here, and that's getting back to the basics of the hobby. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I hate to say it. I love this community, and there's so many good people in it that I still interact with now, but it's mainly like DMs or text messages, as opposed to, I used to try to
you answer text messages? What?
Sometimes. But it used to, when I was getting back in, I was trying to get as many followers as possible to get more information, to talk to people like, what are you collecting? Do you have this card? I'm looking for this, blah, blah, blah. And now I get on there and I see people arguing, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. And it's like,
turned off.
Yeah, I'm back to, there's a lot of people that say that, the hobby wasn't fun when we didn't have the internet, because we couldn't, talk to each other and make connections, which is true to an extent.
Sure.
But when I, turn around and grab a stack of slabs or go through a binder or whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm having just as much fun just interacting with the cards and what I have, and having, just relaxing, than I am wasting my time on social media. And I know, both of us have struggled with coming up with the time and sometimes financing to get the equipment and do all these recordings. But I'd much rather be doing this right now and putting out just information, whether somebody out there hates us, likes us, agrees or disagrees. I feel like we're, spending our valuable time at least doing something productive within the hobby.
It falls back into like how when I started WTC, it's a labor of love. Mm-hmm. And if you love what you're doing, it's not really work to you.
Right.
Even if there's time restraints and equipment needs to be bought or things of that nature to kind of make things better for what you're doing, at the end of the day, you love the hobby and you want to present content to people and hope that if I get 50 views or listens like that, hopefully one person out there got something useful out of it, then it's worth it to me. So I mean, you and I have gone back and forth for the better part of the last year or plus of like, you know what, I'm just not feeling it, man. I just the motivation's not there. This is content really worth putting out when no one's giving out. Why are we not getting more views? Why are we not getting more comments, no engagements? We tried different things of contests and different things asking for, and nothing. And it can become like, it could bring you down. It can depress you in some respects too. But I think we've come over that hump and kind of going, you know what? I don't care anymore. It's like, I do it because I love the hobby. We put the content out there because we just want to. I mean, here we are. We've become friends because of this.
Nobody else is doing it. We've got to be the flag bearers. It just is what it is.
Yeah. And so it's you and I've connected and became friends because of this hobby. And I value that friendship and that we've we can share our knowledge with each other. And then we get together, do these kind of things, and then we share it for an audience. Hopefully, I don't care if it's for 5 people or 5,000 people, that hopefully someone takes something from it and can learn and make a good purchase. Maybe find something like, you know what, I'm going to go be this kind of person. I'm going to be I've never been a player collector before, but because, Zhan goes and collects a cross, I'm going to do something like that too. I'm going to collect this person now. Like, okay, well now
I've actually got that quite a bit. I don't know if you've got that with your Loomis stuff, but I've had people say, I liked your cross thing. So now I'm starting this random person's collection. Yep. I'm like, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get that kind of feedback that you get. I don't get the kind of feedback that some other people get. And you know what? That used to bother me. Like, why isn't anybody asking me stuff? Why isn't anybody talking to me? It doesn't bother me anymore now. It's like, I'm going to continue to keep doing what I do. I continue to keep putting the checklist together. I continue to keep getting the information. I'll just keep pushing forward with, trying to refine it, get as best as possible, and keep putting the information out there, whether it be on my own channel, through with you, whether someone wants to have me be a guest on their show. I don't care. As long as I have the time and I'm willing to do it, I'm going to do it.
That's what it's all about. I don't like all this nonsense. And again, I think there's a time and place for negativity within the hobby. I think some people need to be called out on some of their stuff, sure. maybe privately, but sometimes I think people need to be, pointed in the right direction, not like well, this is the rookie card. No, this is it. Not, I mean, I think there's
we're well beyond that now.
There's a place where we can have that debate though, but that's the problem is people don't want to debate. Like, I like listening to people that I respect and I like their opinions, but maybe I don't disagree with it. Well, instead of getting on Twitter and saying, well, I'm blocking you, I don't like, whatever, I'm just like, okay, and I'll just keep scrolling or, keep doing my own thing.
It's gone beyond the whole, rookie card debate, which was like those are the days when that was like the biggest, debate ever in our hobby. It was like rookie card talk. Yeah. Oh, this is the one that will never go away. And it's like all of a sudden, like, oh no, Prism said, hold my beer. And then, brought out all the ugliness in people. And it just, it became a political thing of red versus blue. And it's just, it's unfortunate it got that way. I think the market and the hobby itself will settle to a point. I don't know if certain people who were friends before will get back and be forgiven for each other. I kind of wish they would, just so we can all commend each other for when you got something cool, and kind of congratulate people like, hey, I know you're a huge Carrying Cross collector, man. It's another great card you got in the collection, man.
Instead of saying, well, if you spent more than $1 on that, or I hope you didn't pay much for that, or that's not as good as my Sting, test run card, like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that kind of stuff is not necessary, needed. It's like that. I mean, but we can't control everybody, can't control anybody. So it's just like it is what it is. I hate that phrase, but it is what it is, and that's just kind of have to navigate the choppier waters now.
We've talked numerous times about there's not enough zeros in wrestling. All of a sudden, we're starting to see the zeros. Yeah. Do you think the money involved has been kind of what's I'm not going to say separate. Yeah, that's basically what it is, because I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I got into this to make money, not necessarily to make money as a job per se, although my eBay store is kind of doing that. It was making money to buy the cards I couldn't afford. And that's kind of what I've been doing. But it seems like people are getting so wrapped up in the prices, value, costs, comps, all this stuff, and they're completely forgetting that about the card itself. Like it almost seems like we're talking about this bottle here. Like, is it 10? Is it 5? Is it 2? Is it worth anything? Is it the short print?
I get the mentality of wanting to get the most out of your stuff. When I was, shopping out that 82 Hogan Cosmos like that, obviously I want to get the most I possibly could out of that. And that's why I set a reserve for when I sold it. Now, it didn't hit my reserve when I initially sold it. When I initially put it up, it didn't hit the reserve, but I had that 2-week time frame afterwards where it was still available for offers. And I got an offer that was my reserve. So
there you go.
It went, and that's what I wanted, just like that. But I wish for it had gone higher. Of course, I would have wished it would have gone higher. But sometimes you gotta go, you know what? I want X, but no one's going to pay me X, so I'll just go ahead and take Y, I guess.
Great transition once again to tie up the people on Twitter asking too much for their cards or social media, and then to tie in the politics. Where do you stand as far as just letting something go? I'm a huge proponent. A lot of times, if I sit on something too long and somebody sends me an offer, exactly what you just said, shoot, sometimes I'll take 50% and I'll just take the loss on it and then roll that into something else and just keep it going. I would like to know where you stand on that, and why do you think that more people don't understand that concept of just keeping things moving? Do you think it's just because they don't have as much experience, or not doing the homework, as you said numerous times?
Well, I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in your stance on that. I wish that I personally was someone who actually practiced that more, because I don't. I'm always just I hold on to things for too long sometimes, or a lot of things I'm not willing to let go for less than what I have in my mind of what I wanted to go for. And I'll just sit on it. There's nothing wrong with that either, I think. There's nothing wrong with just sitting on it and saying, you know what, I'm going to sit on it until someone eventually meets somewhere around what I'm asking for this particular item.
Especially if you've got something that's like, again, Roman Reigns 101. Like, of course, you're not going to mess around with.
When I start getting like these, $5 cards like that, and you say, well, I want it for $1. Like, well, I'll give it to you for, $2.50. I'm meeting. There's some haggle room there. It's like, if I'm talking about $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 cards like that, I'm not going to give it to you for $7,000.
Right.
It's just there's a big difference. So the more zeros there are in the number, in the card value, I guess that decides it. But, I'm always willing to listen. I mean, nothing wrong about hearing about offers like that. I think I probably need to practice more on that. I'm not sitting on any things that I'm fully invested in that I'm like, oh, I'm looking to flip this into something else. I'm not of the mindset that you are. I don't take my inventory and flip it to other inventory. I don't take my collection and say, okay, I'm going to flip this for something a bigger and better card. I don't do that because I don't collect really hardly anything other than Kurt Angle and Dexter Lumis stuff. So all of it can go as far as I'm concerned. I'm not willing. I'll sit on it if I have to until I get my value that I want out of it. I'm not looking to flip it for something bigger. But maybe I should start looking that way. I don't know. Maybe I should start looking that way.
You actually just brought up one more thing. I said it was the last question, but I've got to talk about it. We talked on last week, prism prices coming down and people wanting less and less, and all of these things. And then we talked about just a minute ago, people wanting super high prices for cards that they think are like way overvalued, I guess, per section.
They're trying to ride a wave of a particular line of like gold numbered stuff that the top stars are getting. So why can't my card also get a bump in that?
Right. Do you think the people who are asking these prices are actually so over leveraged in cards that they feel they have to get that money back, because now they're like, uh-oh, I just spent all this money on this wax and now I need the money.
Very possible.
Especially with the economic time that we're in right now.
I'll bet you there's a good number of people out there who probably are thinking that exact thing. I didn't even think about that, but I think you're right. I'll bet you there's probably a good number, a high percentage of somewhere close to 50%, I bet, of people out there are probably pricing these things up so high because they got to cover their loss.
I've seen that a lot in sports cards worse than wrestling because, it's funny. Wrestling cards, again, steady climb up.
Yep.
Sports cards have just taken a nosedive. And I've seen that a lot. I've seen on these other podcasts and these platforms, people are saying, I'm just getting out of the hobby. I spent way too much on this Luca card and now it's 50% of the value. I just got to get what I can get and get out of it because I've put myself in a financial bind in real life, not just in the hobby. And I'm just kind of wondering if that's starting to trickle into other things as well.
Could very well be.
Well, we had some interesting topics. I don't think we got off the rails tonight on this After Dark as normally as we have before.
No. After Dark episodes usually
you just never know.
I'm surprised that this After Dark episode revolves so heavily around cards because sometimes our After Dark episodes loosely are around cards.
Yeah.
I mean, our first episode we ever did called After Dark was god awful.
Booking simulator, is that right?
Yeah. What we did? E-federations and stuff like that. I mean, it's okay. I have nightmares about that.
But there for a while before we started doing. Actually, it was shortly after that episode, and before my eBay store just really took off. I was like, you know what, we should try to do this. Like, I was talking to other people that I was like, man, an eFed would be so much fun. Obviously, it's not going to happen now. I don't have the time, but it feels like that was like a million years ago.
It does.
And it wasn't that much long. It wasn't.
It feels like it was a long time ago that we talked about that. It's like, okay, I guess I can bring up my old eFed stuff, but
it's so fun.
Yeah.
I guess when you're inundated in the hobby as much as both of us are, really. I mean, you say you're not a collector, but that doesn't mean you're not heavily involved in the wrestling card hobby.
Of course.
As much as we're doing, like, it just seems like a lifetime goes by. And we're like, oh, that was only 3 months ago. Like,
that was only 3 months ago. But you know what? That's a long time in the hobby because this hobby is evolving and changing at a rapid pace that we've never seen before. Yep. So it doesn't surprise me that 3 months feels like 3 years ago.
And again, I don't know about you, but I'm having the time of my life. Like, all the nonsense we talked about on Twitter doesn't affect me whatsoever. Even if one of those guys. Go ahead.
I feel the pressure to deliver when it comes to WTC stuff because there's so much stuff coming out, both major releases, so much independent stuff coming out there. I was gone for 3.5 weeks and all this travel to like doing stuff. And I feel like I've been gone for 3.5 years. Yeah. So it's like, I have so much stuff to catch up on because so much has happened.
But you've got a great team built now of good people behind you. And it's just kind of raising the website to a new level, really.
It's hard to, you get in a rhythm of doing things after a while. So like that, even if you kind of fall off and take a break for a day or two, you still have that rhythm you kind of built up. But I feel like after 3.5 weeks, almost a month, I'm like, oh, I have to riding a bike is tough. Like, oh, look at this. Just picked up a Dexter Loomis green prism parallel. So that's cool.
That's what it's about. That's what it's all about. I mean, we all like to make money. We all like to interact. We love the community. But when you boil it down to the basics of what it is, it's about the cards. And it's about buying whatever it is you want, whether it's the one of one or the base card that everybody else has. As long as you're having fun, I say keep doing it and there's always new ways. Like Prism. Like, I haven't talked a lot about it and I haven't shown off a lot, but there's like very interesting color matches and like cool little projects you can put together with Prism. It's just always something fun. So
Prism hasn't been a bad thing because while people looked at it as a price problem, it actually opened the door and helped. I think it's going to help collectors understand there's other ways to collect and still have fun. Yeah. It's okay to jump and change lanes once in a while. So that's done for me. Like, it made it easy for me as a player collector that I was able to go out there and collect some things. I could still collect some stuff, and it's not breaking the bank at all.
Yeah, and that's a huge plus. Like, you're obviously not going to get over leveraged on buying Dexter Loomis because you know what you're willing to pay, you know what you got to have, and you're just having fun. It's not like the invest hype flip kind of stuff, which, like, I get it. It takes collectors, it takes investors, it takes kids, it takes old timers, it takes all kinds of people to make the hobby work cohesively. But I just wish people would just start kind of focusing more on having fun, whether that's creating content. Again, call to action. We need more wrestling card content. Since me and you have been talking about that, we've seen some more people start doing stuff.
Yep.
But we want to see more. We want to see podcasts. We want to see YouTube channels and, talk about whatever it is you want. But that's just, having fun, find a way to have fun in the hobby. Tony, let everybody know where they can find you.
WrestlingTradingCards.com, people. Everything is there. Bottom of every page, you can get all the social media links are right there.
Absolutely. And PSA wants you to know that if you want your card graded, you better check WTC before you send it in.
I'm getting emails from people who have been requesting further information from PSA specifically, been asking about particular card sets. I'll be doing a WTC short here shortly, talking about a particular one that I'm getting a lot of emails about recently.
That'll be interesting to see, because if you're getting that many emails about a specific card or a set, that means, first off, that intrigues me to see what is it that people are wanting to grade that much. And then secondly, what would be the questioning or the issue with, grading it? So that will be interesting to see. Make sure you check out the WTC YouTube channel as well. You want to promote Top Rope Con real quick?
TopRopeCon.com, baby. Got a lot of great, very strong lineup. I got more names to be announced here soon. By the time this probably drops, there'll be even more names being announced. But September 16th and 17th, Tampa, Florida State Fairgrounds Expo Hall. Trying something new, man. Trying to merge out of the booking business, get more in the promoting business. And it's shaping up to be something pretty special. So we got a lot of guys coming down. Card Foundation podcast guys are all coming down, doing a live podcast from there. Looking forward to that.
Isn't Chuckster going to be there?
I don't think he's coming there, but he's definitely at the national.
Well, one of those times, I'm curious to see what he's going to be charging for autographs. Like, it could be like the highest.
Well, I'm not. I'll tell you off air.
Oh boy, Chuckster must be in some big business for the autographs. This is going to be great.
He's going to be he will be signing some cards. Trust me.
Yes, awesome. I can't wait to get one of those.
And he deserves it. Where can they find you, sir?
Wrestling with Cards on YouTube is kind of the hub. That's my kind of OG content platform I started on. Obviously, this podcast, which if you haven't subscribed to this show already, no matter what podcast platform you're listening on, please do, and give us a 5-star review. Just trying to build the audience. Sure, if we can end up getting paid a lot of money for this one of these days, that'd be nice. But the more listenership we can build, the bigger the wrestling card hobby space gets. And really, at the end of the day, that's all I care about. So please subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Links to everything Tony's talked about and that I've talked about are in the show notes of this as well. And you can find me on social media at Zhan Morning. I'm not on there. I would say once a day. I'll post something or interact. Feel free, if you got questions, send DMs, tag me in anything you want. I'm not as active, for the reasons that we talked about today. I don't like to get caught up in all this stuff. So I just don't spend as much time, but that doesn't mean I'm not unavailable. So if you got something, hit me up on social media. And until next time, just remember, have fun. Remember why you're doing this. Take it back to the basics, whether it's flipping, whether it's putting sets together, whether it's grading, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're having fun doing it, focus, shut out the noise, tell the haters to kick rocks, and just have some fun. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you.